And here he is, the Prince of all Saiyans, Vegeta, and this is the premium colour. Now, this is something, I've never had a Vegeta, and he looks okay. First off, the colour is very shiny, as you can tell from his hair, and again is very kind of arched into the M. It looks like an M to me. His eyes look very kind of piercing and menacing, as pretty much as what I would expect from Vegeta. You can see his mouth is fine, and just underneath his eyes are kind of like, I think he looks like he's blushing at times. Now, the Saiyan armour is possibly one of my favourite armours around. When we look down here, you can see that they've actually edged in the colours here, and it actually looks like it's a proper set of armour from the anime, rather than say like a generic kind of like line. We can see here that there are lines very standoutish that I would not have really noticed, and I would have thought if they were, rather than it being a blue, that it would be a black colour. There's not really much definition because he's wearing the kind of like spandex type outfit that he normally wears, so there's not really much to it. He's got the neck lines and the neck braces, and one thing I've noticed that with the colour, so I'm a little bit let down, is obviously the hair's fine, but the kind of blue kind of bleeds into his neck, into the pink colour. As you can see here, the kind of like the lines on his armour, which I quite like, I do like it, and it does stand out. Kind of links all the way in here, but here there's a little bit of crack. And there it doesn't look, it should have been all one colour, I think, rather than it kind of being separated. There's a little bit of muscle definition, and the lines of how the figure was joined looks like a bit of a vein, but we can see just on the side that he has a muscle definition. Links into the arm with normal joints, and again with the hands, obviously because he wears gloves. I always think they're like Super Sentai gloves if he has them. That's where the leather would be, so you kind of ruffle where it would be on a cuff. As we move quickly down the legs, there is like kind of a matte feel towards it, a nice matte blue, and here, if you can see them, is just the kind of legs where he has a definition, where its leg muscles would be. They're very similar. I thought they'd be very kind of different, one muscle being bigger than the other, but at the moment they're both exactly the same. We have the knee joints, which are pretty much exactly the same as all the other Dragon Ball Z characters. We'll have a look at the back. It looks okay. It's not going to be my favourite as joints, as you guys know, but we're going to have a look at the rest of him. Now, I always thought that Vegeta's boots had a bright yellow rather than a dull brown. Now, to me, this isn't too bad, but I would kind of thought we'd have little lines across it. And we see that on the kind of the boot cuff, there's like kind of ruffles, as it would be with leather, but apart from that, it's not too bad. Again, we can have these move if you're putting them on like a rocky texture or something, so they move up and down. Iconic with Vegeta's hair is always kind of in a Super Saiyan state, but with the colour, this is one thing that does stand out. There are different colours from being light, I don't know if you can see it, to being dark right there. So pretty much like Goku and the rest, his hair is kind of all kind of matted up, and it looks impressive. When we look at the back, leather kind of connector or whatever it is in the series, and again we've got two joints up here. Now, one thing I have noticed about is this, and I'll give my thoughts at the back with the colour blue, which leads into his armour. As we move down, again on his arms, there's the muscle definition there and there, and again you've got the kind of like brown line. I always thought they would be black, and again a little bit colour missing just there. Again, this could be this figure, your figure could be completely different, but there is like some colour missing. When we come down to having a look at his legs and his bum, I don't know what this is because I've never seen it on any of the other figures, so maybe it's a point where they connect his legs together, or maybe they've just left it in. You see the gloves with the kind of rifts like normal. Now, we know that these aren't my favourite like joints. I don't really particularly like them. The only good one we've seen is on Son Goku Warrior Awakening, but we're going to have a look at the joints when we play around with the figure. So the standard ones, and again you've got the boot cuffs right there, you've got his hands clenching, and again the legs are quite thin, they kind of move in downwards like that way. As we look at his cuffs here, on his boots, they look fine. One's pointed, one isn't, which is a nice touch. Obviously it's not exactly the same, so they've not just copied each leg boot wise and added it in. There's a small indent there, which I don't know what that's about, but that could be just from the production line, and it kind of like the boot cuffs look like they're made of leather in a way. It gives that impression that it's made of leather, so that it's unique effectively. With all the figures that we get, they have multiple faces, so we're going to have a look at them. It looks really weird. There's his tongue, I think. So this is his kind of looking away type look. So this one here is that he's angry. gives the kind of different life to the character, as well as this kind of vein thing that we always see Vegeta have. So when he's looking out that way, it kind of really looks cool. Like he's angry. He's always angry, and if you ever see him smile, it's always something completely different. So let's have a look at that one. And this one is his kind of like ha. So again, that's a kind of cheeky smile that he has. It all fits in quite well. Just make sure that you get it properly in and it's all connected. That's a bit of an annoyance, that if you want to have it connected that way, you won't see it that way, but if you want it all to be in, you see this kind of line, so you have to really kind of push it towards it. So this is his kind of like I'm going to destroy you type look, which is absolutely fine. I think it looks pretty cool. I've got to admit, the angry vein face that makes it for me. It'd been cool if you had more faces and looking different ways, and him smiling a little bit more. With all the figures, we're going to look at the posability. Now his feet move just like that, and again we have the joint, which looks like they've really improved it quite recently. I hated the fact that sometimes it would snap together, so we see that we've got that one. So we can see that his legs move around quite easily. Next we have his arms, and they move all the way around, and they kind of come out just like that way, so you can have him in different ways. Again, move all the way around. So this one's a little bit harder to kind of like, beforehand it was a 360, so you can do it that way. And again, the joints there move normally, and on that one as well. His head moves around a lot like that and like that, so you can move it up and down whichever way you want. I kind of would have liked this figure to come with a Vegeta head like a normal one, but let's have a look and wrap up with our thoughts. Quickly having a look at the poses. Now I quite like this. You're able to fold his hands that way quite easily. Now the other figures I've never really been able to do it straight away. It has to take a while before they kind of work, but I really like this. They could have added in his arms like Piccolo a while ago, or like Captain Marvelous, but this is definitely a nice little touch to the figure. So there we go, Rangers. There is Vegeta Premium Edition, the premium color. Now I like him and I don't like him at the same time. I think he's a very nice addition if you haven't got a Vegeta. If you've already got him in other colours and in Super Saiyan form, I think maybe that might be a bit better. When looking at his hair, I noticed just there there's a small spot, and also some of the bleeding of the neck, as well as some other paint issues. The armour that he's got on, I think would have looked a lot better with a black outline rather than a blue outline, because to me I kind of think that it's like someone just added biro into it. It stands out really well. The armor is, as I said, one of my favorites in the series, and it's nice to actually have a Vegeta. I really wish that he came with a normal standard head that I could add to it so I could actually play around with it, but apart from that, it's not too bad. So Rangers, your question of the day is, what do you think about this? Do you like him? Do you not like him? Let me know down below in the comments, and if you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment and subscribe. Check out Yada Games, all that lovely goodness, and as always Rangers, thanks for watching and I'll see you in a bit.